Hey, you beautiful people. Okay, right. I'm really excited to put today's podcast out. We're going to be talking about slowing down and smelling the roses. And yeah, this is something that's come up again and again for me throughout life. So I'm so excited to put this out there. But just before I do, I just want to say a huge thank you to any of you who have been leaving reviews. And just it means the world to me to have so many and 5-star reviews and people putting such heartfelt comments. And it's so beautiful and it helps the podcast grow. So thank you so much. And I'm going to start sharing them on the podcast soon. So that's going to be cool. And yeah, just to say as well, I don't know if anyone knows, like many of you have downloaded the ebook that I created, but I'm going to put a link in the show notes for those of you who haven't caught it yet. It's called Discover What You're Really Made Of. It's kind of like it's a short ebook, part poem, part reflection. And yeah, if you haven't caught it yet, I'd love for you to read it and let me know what you think. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Okay, let's crack on and talk about slowing down. So I had the absolute pleasure of hanging out with some people that are very special to me recently, and I was talking about my heart's desire and my intention, and I realized that I want to slow down. I want to slow down, smell the roses, enjoy the moment, and this is something that I've seen again and again and again in my life because it took me a long time to kind of say this out loud. But I've known for a while now that I feel this thing inside of me that wants to create something. It wants to create something big that helps people wake up, that helps people see that life can be absolutely beautiful and helps them to access beautiful feelings. And that's kind of what I'm up to here, right? And I feel like sometimes I just get into this current kind of hurried mindset about it. I'm like, oh, I've got to get this thing done. And then once this thing's built, once this thing's done, then I can slow down. Then I can chill. And it's so interesting to me, right? I have all these stories as well. I have my kind of ADHD story, which goes something like, well, you're a sped up person, Sam. You got this energy, this frenetic energy, and it's just how you are. And you go through peaks and troughs and all this kind of stuff. And I can tell myself those stories, but for whatever reason, at some level, it has made sense for me to kind of live in this hurried space because I thought it was going to get me somewhere. I really thought it was the energy or the thing that was going to allow me to create this thing and get it out into the world. But at the same time, I've been caught up by that energy. And I don't know if this is something for you, but for me, I've often get caught in that energy. My sleep suffers. I was talking a bit about this on the decision making podcast, and it's kind of connected and interwoven. But it's just so interesting to me that I can get caught up in that, and then I can kind of get to a state where I might feel a bit overwhelmed, and I have to pull back. And I realize that I want to slow down. I want to be vibrantly alive. I want to come from joy. And when I get caught in my head and when I get caught in the got to make this happen in a hurry kind of way, then I think I innocently get in the way of my joy. And maybe that's a pattern that you notice for yourself as well. So here's the funny thing, right? Because it's always felt like a bit of a catch-22 to me. It's felt like, oh, I've got all this stuff that I've got to do. And if I don't do it, I won't be able to slow down, right? But at the same time, if I'm in there and I'm doing it all, then I'm not slowed down, right? I'm in a hurry. So it felt like whatever way I looked at it, I was kind of like going around in circles. But I really saw again this past week something that I've seen many times, which is there's so much wisdom in living at the speed of life. And if you think about it, the only place where we can have any kind of access to wisdom or any of this practical magic. I sent an email out this week saying how, this kind of stuff that comes to us in the moment that seems magical. It didn't occur to us before. We have an insight or whatever, and they're ruthlessly practical, the things that we see. That stuff comes to us in the present moment, not before, not after. And it's in the slowing down that we find our way to the wisdom. And the interesting kind of paradox about this is that it says nothing about the action or the actions we take and how quickly those things get done. So, for example, for me, creating the podcast or bringing, co-creations and coaching groups and things into the world, it's not about the action, it's about the energy behind them. Because the moment I slow down and come into the moment, come into the now, the only place that we ever are, Suddenly all these creative insights occur to me. I know what to do. I can create from that space. And actually, the solution to the whole problem, in air quotes, that isn't really a problem, it's just something that I've innocently created in my head, is to just slow down and come into the moment, and then everything else will take care of itself. And it's in the moment we fill with joy. It's in the moment when all of that kind of hurried thinking falls away, or the habit of stressing ourselves out and trying to get to a point in the future, and the kind of misunderstanding that that's where we're going to be okay once I've got that done. Suddenly that joy and that peace can actually become, well, it's the place that we come from. It's the place where we create from, and it's us. It's you. That's the only space where our entire life unfolds. So yeah, it really is powerful to slow down and smell the roses, and you might just be surprised at how much you can get done, how much you can create from that beautiful, beautiful space of now. All right, team. I hope you have the most amazing week. Love you all. See you soon.